You look up, and a face you have never seen crosses the room. And before you can think, you have already sorted it. Attractive. But that verdict took your brain less time than a blink, and it was never really about the face. Once you see what it was measuring, you may never look in a mirror the same way again. Here's what actually happened. Your brain was not admiring that face, it was rewarding itself for how little effort the face cost it to process. Symmetry to your visual system means ease, and ease deep in the brain feels like pleasure. That is the whole secret. What you experience as beauty is the sensation of a hard job turning out to be easy. Start with the strangest part, which is that you did not learn this. Show a face to a newborn, 2 or 3 days old, someone who has never seen an advertisement or soaked up a single culture's idea of what a face should be, and the newborn looks longer at the faces adults rate as attractive. That is Langlois, a run of infant studies beginning in the 1980s, days into a human life. With no words and no lessons, the preference is already running. Whatever this is, it was installed before you arrived, and it was built for speed. A face is the oldest problem your brain has to solve, friend or threat, in the dark, in a fraction of a second, long before there is time to think. So it built a shortcut, a way to score a face faster than thought. What you feel as beauty is the receipt that shortcut prints when a face is quick to read. But here's where it turns on you. You think you're drawn to the striking face, the rare one, the one that stands out from a crowd. You are not. Take dozens of ordinary faces and blend them into a single composite, and that blended face beats almost every real face that went into it. Langlois and Roggman, 1990. The average of 32 faces was rated more attractive than 31 of the 32 individuals inside it. The more faces you pour in, the more beautiful the average becomes. What you call beauty is not rarity. It is the middle. Your brain has spent your entire life quietly building a template of what a face is, averaging every face it has ever met, and the faces you find beautiful are simply the ones that sit closest to that template. Easy to match, cheap to process. And symmetry is only averageness wearing another mask. Two matched halves fold onto the template without a fight. Two halves that disagree make your brain work, and your brain resents the work, but do not push it too far. Mirror one half of a real face onto itself to force perfect symmetry, and something goes wrong. The result looks lifeless, faintly inhuman. No living face is perfectly even. What actually wins is not machine symmetry, but the loose, near balance of a face that grew the way faces grow. Enough order to read in an instant, enough imperfection to read, as alive. Now the part that stops sounding like a metaphor. Slide someone into a scanner, show them a beautiful face, and you can watch the reward system light up, the same orbitofrontal and striatal machinery that answers to food, to money, to a win. In a 2001 study, heterosexual men would keep pressing a key, spending real effort, just to hold an attractive face on the screen a moment longer. The way a rat works a lever for a pellet. Her own and colleagues in the journal Neuron, the face was paying them. The same neural currency as a meal. So when you say a face is rewarding to look at, you're not being poetic. You're describing a transaction your brain has already logged and settled. And this is where we should be honest about the story we tell ourselves. We like to believe symmetry is a health readout, that a balanced face signals good genes, and a body that grew up without damage, a mate worth choosing. It is a clean story. The evidence for it is thin. When researchers actually test whether facial symmetry predicts real physical health, the links come back weak and inconsistent, small correlations that wobble from one study to the next, nothing like the confidence signal we imagine we are reading off a person's face. Treat that as correlation, not proof, because the data does not earn anything stronger. But here's the uncomfortable part. It does not matter that the signal is weak, because we act on it as if it were certain. The attractive face is rated more honest and more capable, trusted before it has said a word. What is beautiful is good. The psychologists called it back in 1972, and 50 years of studies have only thickened the file. Better-looking defendants tend to draw lighter sentences. Better-looking people earn more across a lifetime. We wrote laws against judging a person by their race, their sex, their age, and we left this one wide open. Lookism is the one prejudice that never had to learn to hide. You ran it in the first 1/10 of a second of this video on a stranger, and you felt nothing at all. Here's something you can actually use, because the system is not only reading bone, it is reading condition. The eye region is the first thing your face reader locks onto. We hunt for the eyes and fixate them before anything else on a face, and the machinery there is painfully tuned to fatigue, the shadow under the eye, the puffiness, the small asymmetries that a bad night drags across your features. You cannot move your cheekbones. You can move that. It is the one part of the whole face that answers back quickly. It is the reason the under eye is the single step I never skip. A little of based under eye elixir in the morning, the caffeine and bearberry pulling down the shadow, and the puffiness the reader flags first. Not to become someone else's average, only to stop broadcasting tired to a system that decides in a 1/10 of a second and never once tells you it is deciding. There's one last turn, and it lands on the face you know best. You have only ever seen your own face reversed. the mirror hands you a flipped version, and that flip is the one you have studied your whole life. So it is the one that feels correct, which is why you tend to like your reflection more than your photographs, while your friends like your photographs more than your reflection. Each side quietly prefers the version it has seen more often. Mita and colleagues showed exactly that in 1977. Your brain is not weighing the face, it is weighing familiarity and handing you the feeling under the name of beauty. The more a face matches what you already carry, the more the brain relaxes, and it passes you that relaxation dressed as attraction. It does this with your own face too. You are the stranger you have looked at the most. So go back to the mirror. That face you check every morning, you have never once seen it the way anyone else does. They get the fast verdict, the 10th of a second sort, the small reward or its absence, all of it running underneath the words they would ever use to describe you. You only ever get the slow version, the one clouded by everything you happen to know about yourself. Two people look at the same face and never see the same thing. And the one who sees it in an instant without a single conscious thought may be reading you more honestly than you have ever managed to read yourself. Somewhere you have stood on the other side of this. A face you trusted on sight before the person had done anything to earn it, or one you quietly cooled on for no reason you could name, and only much later found the reason. I would like to read those in the comments. The moment your first 10th of a second got it right, and the moment it lied straight to your face. If you would like more of these quiet walks through the machinery running underneath you, consider subscribing. I make them for the people who would rather see how the wiring works.